My dear friends, now I commence my second part of the presentation on health and geo-environment. Already in the first part, some broader linkages of health and environment and some of the medical advances, the goals, etc. they are listed out. In this part, an effort will be made to present some more evidences and some more details in respect of the influence of the chemical elements vis-a-vis an environment, vis-a-vis the linkages to the gross nature and how we have to protect our grand nature's environment finally. This is the goal. Ultimately, human welfare is the most important societal goal of public health. We have already brought out that elements have an important and a considerable role in the life processes, in the life and in the sustenance of life. Actually, the human body itself is made up of something like 20 elements. Some of them are major, about 8 to 10 are major elements, and rest of them are trace or minor quantities. But they all go into the chemical makeup of the entire living life system. Our human body, basically to say, the first two elements, oxygen and hydrogen, they are composed of in a larger proportion. Water is the most important component of any human body. Equally of many other organisms, maybe an amoeba, maybe other microorganism. Water plays such an important role. It is only a rudimentary example of the role of chemical substances vis-a-vis life processes. And these elements are channeled through geological media like waters, like soils, like atmosphere, and many other linkages of nature which are again interconnected. There are two important facts that have been recognized over years. The elements have a role vis-a-vis health issues of humans or animals. Hence, possibly the diseases are related in an overall to the environment to some extent, the extent being local or sometimes regional. But otherwise, sometimes also there is an outbreak of epidemics. All these are anomalies and they have to be understood in that way. There is a definite chemical behavior of elements within the living cells. Ultimately, we have now gone up to the DNA stage. Many important elements go into the DNA, including phosphorus, and elements act as chemical messengers. There is a greater understanding of the enzymes and the hormones vis-a-vis the life processes. And there are requirements of multicellular organisms. There is an uptake of elements in the living organisms, iron, zinc, copper. These are all by an uptake process. Organisms need naturally about 20 naturally occurring elements. The evolution and mechanism are specific to types of organisms. In a way, the essentiality of an element is related to biochemical functions. If impairment is noticed, supplementation is a way out. Thus, there is an excess or an efficiency in the nature of the elements. This is again related to the geogenic sources or otherwise, and there is also a considerable effect on metabolic processes. For example, in a nutshell, there are cases in the world across and along. So many nations have been experiencing cases of medical disorders or hazards, what we can call. Excess of fluorine through waters or through some other mechanism. Presence of arsenic in waters. Deficiency of iodine, maybe through food or environment. They are all strongly suggestive to advocate that there is a serious health hazard vis-a-vis geogenic source linkages and there is a need for medical attention. That means elements can cause diseases by virtue of what they are, iodine deficiency disorders by virtue of iodine, fluorosis by virtue of fluorine, selenosis by virtue of selenium, silicosis by virtue of silicon, and the big four, another important group which belong to what we call toxic element group, arsenic, cadmium, mercury and lead. In addition to all, There is another giant as a hazard, that is the radioactive waste and an ionizing radiation. All these are threats, and these elements can be studied either by single element studies or multi-element studies, and lots of modern research has been going into the building of the elements into the biostructures. From physiology points of view, elements can be synergetic or antagonistic. If we take out some of the medical disorders that have been noticed vis-a-vis the elements, arsenic in drinking water is a problem. There is a tolerance limit and all that. There are methods for remediation and affecting waters being treated. Arsenic in drinking waters can cause skin lesions. Radon exposure causes lung cancer. Iodine deficiency disorders affect millions of people worldwide. And the industrial revolution has got so many aftermaths of medical problems. Pneumoconiosis, silicosis, asbestosis, occupational cancers, and toxic elements poisoning. Especially all these are some of these examples. Schneeberger disease in Germany, metals due to silver mines, they are considered to be causatives. Osteomalacia in animals in Norway, it is treated by adding crushed stone. There is also a disease called Blackfoot disease of China. Skin disorders and cancer are also some resultants. Gilder's palsy, mercury, it was noticed in Birmingham. Amalgamation and mining involving mercury and precious metals in Amazonia. Methyl mercury, lipid soluble organic compound, such a disease was noticed in Japan and US. It is concentrated through the food chain. This is in the famous Minamata disease, which is due to mercury poisoning in Japan. Mercury emissions from coal burning, they also cause diseases. Such were noticed in USA. Restriction is there on lake and river fishing. Itai disease, cadmium in Japan. Pigments of Bronze Age, arsenic is another causative for cancer. And there are geological sources like pyrite and other metal sulfides, coal resource, asbestos, and cobalt. Certain of these geological derivatives, they cause sickness, and the diseases are variously marked out in different countries. That means geogenic sources plays a considerable role in causation of diseases. In view of the significant implications on the abundance or distribution of certain crucial elements which may be traces vis-a-vis life-building molecules and life processes, medical researchers have gone a long way in detail about the role of specific elements and groups. It is widely known that calcium and phosphorus, magnesium, they largely enter bone structure. Thus there is a role of many other types of elements as well as in the functions, in the membrane structure, in enzyme catalysis, electrochemical regulations, metabolic reactions, and further many more important needs. To cite a few, phosphorus enters non-calcified tissues. Phosphorus is also there in nucleic acids. All such details are the exclusive field of medical specialists only. This is only to enlarge the understanding of the framework so that the causation is better understood. In addition to these things, there are many other threats to the society in the form of micronutrient malnutrition, deficiency of iron, vitamin A deficiency, and iodine has already been pointed out. Even spraying of endosulfan as a pesticide in Karnataka has emerged as an health problem. There are also pathogenic sources such as soil-borne fungi, bacteria, etc. All these are but a clarion call to a larger vigil, especially in a society where there is also a radioactivity in its natural form and also sometimes man-made radioactivity. Many types of medical disorders are related to elements is broadly understood. Thus the system comprising macronutrients, micronutrients, trace constituents all play their respective roles, thereby emphasizing again the pathways, dispersion and functioning patterns of these above vis-a-vis the system and the biochemical processes. Nowadays, again, with a recent outbreak of coronavirus, there is an emphasis that the virus replicates. They do not exist as cells. They do not own their biochemical machinery. There is already a debated virus on hepatitis. Is it a border between living and non-living? They self-replicate, but by hijacking the metabolic machinery of animal plant cells. If such a thing repeats again and again, due to some reason or other worldwide, the world has to be on a whistle. So new researches have to be progressively emphasizing different aspects of virology, bacteriology, and further environmental biology as core discussions. These are suggestive of broader linkages on the evolution of the diseases already the world bodies are working on, but this is only a preliminary impression gained from a geoscientific point of view. This is also pointed out that the stability of bacteria and the microorganism, the microbes, etc., persisting over millions and billions of years. The bacteria is the oldest in the geological regimes and sequences. It survives even today, and its survival even in a radioactive environment is attested. Such a wide stability has to be recognized. Ultimately, the micro kingdom is the strongest. Once the chemosynthetic bacteria was aware of energy tapping in its specific methods, nitrogenous bacteria, sulfate-reducing bacteria, are other diversified examples of bacteria. Thus, we have to be progressively realizing that the smallest is the strongest, and world endeavor has to be an interdisciplinary inputs right from the micro to the macro. Thank you.